want to be a representation of the Middle East, but in a positive way. I don't want to go down to we've had the stereotype of the headscarf and the baggy trousers and
Yeah, of course.
whatnot. I want to be someone who gives a positive light onto all that. I'm not saying if people do that, that's wrong, but I just want to do something different.
Guest of the show today on the Last Minute Wrestling podcast, not doing his Italian debut because he's, I can call him a veteran of the Italian scene. It's Jordan Saeed, pro wrestler from London. Hi, Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, man, I'm good. Yeah, like I said, I've just been super busy at the moment, which is a good thing because, as you would know, like we spent so long sitting indoors in our houses, not doing nothing. Now we can finally start doing things we enjoy, things we love. It's good, but sometimes it's good to have a bit of downtime, I guess.
Yeah. Likewise, I know perfectly what you mean. And in the introduction, I said that you're a veteran of the Italian scene. I'm not even joking because there aren't so many wrestlers from the UK coming this frequently in Italy, especially in the last year and a half for obvious reasons.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess right out of the bat, I'm gonna ask you, how was your Italian experience?
Yeah, man. I actually debuted in Italy like 2 years ago. No, just 2.5 years ago. So it was June 2019. I had a show for IWA, and then I was meant to come back a few months later, but as we know, COVID decided to make his surprise debut, and so that was kind of like put off. And then during like the COVID era of wrestling, I managed to go over there twice more and wrestle, and I'm actually going back next month as well. Next month, yeah, October, yeah. So then, yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's really fun because you can just go somewhere where you don't know the language, you know people, but you kind of don't know them as well, and you just get a fresh start. So it's great to like have a fresh canvas to start on, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there's a huge language barrier when it comes to Italy for basically everybody who doesn't speak Italian. So I know that.
Yeah, like I was learning bits of Italian. I just like kind of as a respect thing. When I knew I was going to get booked there, I thought, let me just try learn bits and pieces. So there's tiny things I know, but at the same time, when a legit Italian starts talking to me, I just get like, oh God, what do I do? But like I can go into like a store and request something and leave, and I can have like some I wouldn't say fluent, but some conversations in Italian. So I've never really had like too much of an issue in terms of language barrier. It also helps because before the pandemic, I was around Italians a lot. Like one of my close friends is Italian, so I just used to pick up language when he was talking.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's super cool. And was it easy in the ring as well? I mean, I suppose every move is in English, right? There's not an Italian translation for it.
Yeah, but I remember actually a funny story. So there's only one time I've had a bit of a issue in the ring. So I wrestled last year September, and I done like a stinger splash in the corner. The dude moved out of the way, and I like smashed my face onto the back of the turnbuckle. So not the actual turnbuckle, the post.
Yeah.
And there's all blood pouring out and everything. Like it was crazy. So I get the guy in the chin lock. I'm laying on the floor, and then I've just got the ref screaming at me. I don't know what he's screaming. He's just screaming something. I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then my opponent's like, yeah, he's saying this, and I'm like, oh, thank God. But obviously, when you got like blood coming down your face, and you just got this Italian ref screaming something at you, but he was just checking if I was okay. So it was a bit. That was the one time I got a bit flustered, I guess.
Yeah, that must have been fun.
Yeah, but in the ring, I've had good experiences.
Yeah, I see that you often tweet about the experience of being in the ring with Karim Brigante as well. What can you tell me about him?
So I think, and not even just being biased, I think he's one of the best in Europe, Karim. All the simple things he does mean something, like even a lock up, a headlock, a strike. he just makes each of them individual things just look so professional. Still, it's the one word I use. Like, I remember once there was a match between him and Rene Dupree, and they just locked up, and I popped. I was like, man, this is so cool. So just a simple lockup. And he kind of reminds you of that 80s NWA wrestler, you know, very well polished, great professional, good in the ring, and you know, obviously he's a big lump too, you know. So
yeah,
I
think he trained.
awesome.
I think he trained with Harley Race as well.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he's trained with Harley Race because I think even before that he was probably good. You know, it just seems like what he has, you can't teach almost. It's kind of like it's natural ability, but it's also hard work, which I know he's put in a lot of hard work to his craft.
Yeah, and I've seen him debuting in WXW a few months back. So shout out to Karim Brigante, and I never had the chance to talk with him. Actually, it's weird because we're both Italian, but never had the chance to. So maybe who knows in the future.
I thought you would have, because it seems like he's like Ric Flair. I have the nickname for him, the Mamma Mia John Cena, because like this guy walks in the streets of Rome and people just pop bump and say, "Oh, Karim." It's pretty crazy. I know, like once he walked Roma Termini, he once walked in and a fan was like, "Oh, Karim," and I'm like, man, he knows everyone. Like,
But we're not here to talk about other people. We're here to talk about you, because as we had the chance to chat on Twitter, and I said, yes, of course, with me being a super famous podcaster now at the moment, I usually just talk with like world champions from like the most prestigious organizations. Of course, I'm joking. I'm talking bullshit at the moment, but I'm really interested in the up and coming stars of the indies in general, especially if I can highlight a little bit someone from Europe or the UK. I mean, I'm happy about it. So I think I first heard about you like a couple of years ago, and through an Italian wrestling fan that told me about you. And I was fascinated, mostly because you have a personal story that is quite uncommon. I mean, you've been a Met police officer, right? Before doing wrestling. How's that turnabout? How's that possible?
So I applied for my training as a police officer when I was 17 years old, and then I was there for a few years. Was it 17 I applied? Actually, it might have been a bit later. I get my numbers mixed up, so do forgive me. When I was very young, in my teens, I applied to be a police officer, and I done all my training. I got in the job, and I was there for about 2 years. And I'm just thinking, like, man, I mean, again, no, like hate towards the police. I respect them. I have a lot of love for them. They looked after me. Great career, but as time's going on, I'm realizing, man, I haven't actually done what I've always wanted to do. And the funny story, while I was training in the police, I was actually training to be a wrestler, but because I was focusing so much on training, I was like flunking my police exams. So I just thought, you know what, I need to be wise with this, put wrestling on the back burner, go into the police and give it, because I don't want to fail my test. So I was in the police for a good few years, and then eventually I thought, you know, I told my sergeant, like, I can't, you know, I'm not enjoying. I was honest, you know, because I think honesty is the best policy. I said, I'm not enjoying it. It's not for me, and I just want to try other things in life. Left on good terms. Went back to the training school I was at, Dropkicks. The likes of Nick Aldis and Wade Barrett have come through there. Quite a few names have come through there.
Yeah.
And training, made my debut around, oh Jesus, when was it? I think late 2017, I believe. Yeah, late 2017, I believe I made my debut. But at first it was like run-ins, going in, attacking someone after a match and whatnot. And then after that, I just started wrestling around. But I have no regrets leaving the police. It's pretty odd. People would say, I left being a police officer to become a wrestler, but that is pretty much my story.
Well, no, I think that's inspiring, actually. Because you know, people always hear the phrase "chase your dreams" and stuff like that. But I mean, that's a pretty cool jump to make in someone's career. And yeah, it says a lot about what kind of person you are, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. It was a very scary thing because like I feel like if I was going to do something that a young and stupid person would do, I'd have to do it then. I couldn't do it if I was 45, married with 3 kids and a mortgage.
Of
But
course.
I think how old was I? I think I was like I can't remember what I was, but like a young kid with no responsibilities,
Yeah.
or a young man with no responsibilities, you can kind of get away with that. And
Yeah.
if I regret it later in life, I regret it. So far, no regrets,
Yeah, totally. It's something that you gotta do at an early stage of your life
Yeah, for sure.
for obvious reasons. And since you started wrestling in the independent scene in the UK, what are a few highlights of your career so far?
Definitely winning the Wrestle Force international title, which I done recently. That was pretty cool because I've wrestled for Wrestle Force for a couple of years now, and it's just nice, at the end to finally taste that cake you've been chasing, I guess. Wrestling for IWA was a big achievement because as a kid, I don't know if you guys had it in Italy, but over here we had this thing called the Wrestling Channel. And they just used to show, they never showed WWE, they showed like early days TNA, Ring of Honor, and all the independents from Europe. So they showed NWE, which you would know.
Yes. Yeah.
They showed a lot of that. So I was like, man, like my goal one day is to wrestle in Italy because I used to see guys like Vampiro, Rikishi, Test, Orlando Jordan, Ultimo Dragon. And I'm thinking one day I need to wrestle in Italy. Like that's a goal. So when that happened, I was like so chuffed. Debuting for Progress was pretty cool. That was before the pandemic, so that was a huge achievement. Yeah, those. If I had to say my 3 highlights, it'd probably be those.
Yeah. What about the first ever Y-off exchange you had with Simon Miller?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember we just done it. I didn't know what reaction it would get. I was like, oh man, will people understand what's going on? Will people question, like, I love a play on words, why we was doing it? And we done it. It got pop. It got quite a bit of like viewership on Twitter, which is nice. So yeah, that's always there's always a nice thing where you can go a bit viral with wrestling.
And you wrestled him recently, right?
Yeah, I wrestled him last Saturday. Yeah, we had a really fun match. I got body slammed on the outside, and we had another Y-off. There might have been some underhanded tactics used. I won't say, but that's down to opinion.
Yeah, I think I complained about being kicked in the nuts or something like that.
Maybe you should invest in a cup.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I would have suggested even to AJ Styles a few years back when he was facing Nakamura. It was big. Yeah, you should think about wrestling in a cup.
There you go.
That's cool. Jordan, is there like any particular wrestling promotion in Europe that you would like to debut for?
WXW. That's a huge goal of mine. I said to myself, like, during COVID, I want to wrestle, like, so while we had that whole period of lockdowns, I said, as much as possible, I want to wrestle abroad just to, like, get a fresh start. And one of the goals was WXW, but now it seems like the world's opening up. That's still my number one goal, just to get a debut there. So I really want to head down there and get some eyes on me and see what I can do.
Yeah, and is there like anywhere in the UK that you would like to work for?
I mean, there's some places up north of England. TNT I'd like to debut for. They look pretty fun. Where else is there? I've never actually weird. I've never thought that question. I've always just taken the journey as it kind of came. Future Shock, I've always wanted to debut for. They've always been a promotion I've looked down. Thought, yeah, I could really do that. Wrestling Resurgence is another one. They're another company I'd love to debut for, and there's a few new ones popping up that I'd really like to. Another one is RCWA. I was meant to debut for them pre-COVID, but obviously the shows got cancelled. So hopefully I can do some work with them at some point.
Okay. I see from your Twitter profile, your Twitter bio is kind of weird. First of all, you don't mention that you're a wrestler. The first thing I can hear is West Ham and the two Hammers.
Which is number one? Always number one.
That's the most important trait that defines you.
Has to be. Like, I remember, like, there's been times I've been offered certain dates, and West Ham are playing Tottenham, which are our rivals, and I'm like, oh man, I don't think I could do this, depending on obviously the date. So yeah, West Ham's always number one, man.
I've had the chance to talk with Mitch Wadden, which is the editor-in-chief of Cultaholic.com, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And he's a huge West Ham fan. And he was also in the media team of the female team of West Ham. So,
oh, wow, that's so cool.
So yeah, I'm doing like this kind of partnership apparently with West Ham fans here. Who
do you support?
What?
Who do you support?
Oh, nobody. No fucking body. I have no idea of football. I actually don't like it at all. But
fair enough. Yeah.
You know what? Because it's fake. I like wrestling because it's real. That's the difference.
Absolutely, I agree. Football's
that's
fake,
the difference.
Real. that's a T-shirt right there. That's merchandise.
Yeah, exactly. But to be perfectly honest, I like West Ham a lot because I like their T-shirt. I've always liked the color combination. So yeah, let's go West Ham. I like it.
I'm glad. Right answer.
I like that. And who would you say has been a mentor of yours so far in your wrestling career?
Oh man, there's quite a few. Like one of them is Oliver.
Yeah, you can mention more than one if you want.
Yeah, Oliver Peace. He's the promoter of Wrestle Force. He's been a really good coach to me in terms of how he's guided me, and also how much I've learned about the business being around him. Because he's a very smart person when it comes to wrestling. So that's being able to get that experience of wrestling very often, but also seeing how he does business, how he conducts himself, and also like. With shows the way he kind of, if he wants something, he wants you to do it. So there's no, if you put on a good match, it's great, but what he requires, he would tell you what he requires. So that gets you into the habit of doing not what's required, not to like pop yourself, but also what's required for the show.
Yeah.
So I really respect that. David Francisco as well, who's actually worked for DIWA previously. He's a great coach, a great dude. Yeah, he's given me so much advice that like every time he talks, if I was to pull out a notebook, it would just be like I'd run out of ink, because when he talks, you have to listen. Like you kind of just soak it all in. And every time I talk to David, I end up like a 10 times better wrestler. And there's so many people on the scene who like I've just always soaked everything in as a sponge, if to say. And another one is Diego, who runs the IWA. He's been very like putting a lot of faith into me, which is nice. And it's nice to have that feeling of someone going, "Yep, I want you to."
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. You feel that someone puts their trust in you. So
yeah, exactly. So that's always good, and that's always been a good pick me up, I guess.
Yeah, and if you will have to describe yourself, Jordan Saeed the Shah, as a wrestler, how would you describe your persona?
It's actually, so I want people to know that, because I want to be a mumbling my words.
No worry, it happens to me all the time.
I want to be a representation of the Middle East, but in a positive way. I don't want to go down to the, we've had the stereotype of the headscarf and the baggy trousers and
yeah, of course.
Whatnot. I want to be someone who gives a positive light onto all that. I'm not saying if people do that, that's wrong, but I just want to do something different and bringing out parts of my personality. I never really do flashy stuff in the ring, mainly because I can't physically do it. But I always, funny story. I'll tell you about diving headbutt another time.
No, that's the perfect time for this story.
So I remember one time I was wrestling someone and he was like super high up in wrestling, and I thought, you know what, I want to really pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know why. I just thought today I'm going to do a diving headbutt. So we're playing the match. I'm like, yep, I'm going to do a diving headbutt. During the match, I get to the top rope and I go, fuck! I had never been to the top rope. So I'm like fumbling around on the turnbuckle. And you could tell it's like Bambi on ice. I'm shitting a brick. I'm like, holy, like, damn. And then eventually I go up and I don't even like, like a flying headbutt where they proper fly like the Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
I just kind of tumbled, and yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't really do flashy stuff. I watch a lot of like old school wrestling, so I like to think naturally I base myself on that. And I'm a huge fan of like the NWA product at the moment. I think it's really good.
Okay.
I haven't caught up with it. In like not a while, but like I haven't caught up with it as of late. But it's really basing myself on. I think naturally what you watch is what you base yourself on. So I like to think that.
Yeah. And who's someone like a contemporary wrestler that you're really looking up to and really trying to learn as much as possible from?
Contemporary,
contemporary.
A big name, like
of course. Someone who still wrestles, let's say.
Yeah. Oh man, it's another question I've never really thought of. I'm really big on what Nick Aldis is doing. And again, he come from the same school as me, so it's just kind of like natural.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like look up to the person who,
of course,
is probably the ideal student. There's so many names I could tell you who I just tried to. Trevor Murdoch as well. I think he's doing great work. Probably the best in his career at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Totally killing it. I'm really big on like Doug Williams obviously making a comeback is really cool and what he's doing. So it's good to watch Dan go, wow, this is what I kind of aspire to be as well. Just a very old.
Any chance for you to face Doug Williams since he came back to wrestling?
Not at the moment, no. And I wouldn't want to put Doug through that stress of carrying me. So he doesn't deserve that.
Who's the best opponent you had so far? Someone who brought out the best of you.
Oh God, man, I could say Connor Mills because the way British wrestling speaks about Pete Dunne, I believe they'll speak about Connor Mills. His intensity. I remember the first time I wrestled him, I had to have the day off work the next day because it was so intense. And he was so like, the gas tank on that kid is unbelievable. Like, I say Karim Brigante as well. Again, just being in there with someone like him really taught me a lot about myself, and I kind of take pieces of that and now bring it into my matches. What I haven't wrestled him, but working with RJ Singh has really helped in terms of my confidence because I can just soak in so much from him and learn and see how he does things his way. Who else is there? Kyle Ashmore, who I think, in my opinion, is one of the best in the country. We wrestled, and I really went out my comfort zone that day and learned a lot. So that's always a good thing. But regardless whether it's like an opponent you have a good match or a bad match, I feel you always learn. So another team I faced called the NIC. I wrestled them as a tag team. They're great. Like the match wasn't crazily overcomplicated, but it was enough for me to learn what good tag team wrestling is. So now doing tag matches, I'm just more confident after wrestling those guys.
I can see that. I understand what you mean here. And
I mentioned his name before as well, David Francisco. I wrestled him returning to wrestling, and the attention to detail I had to pay in that match, and the amount I didn't like, because a normal Jordan pre-pandemic would have really simplified it and just been like, I can't do this, I can't do that. But with David, I really pushed the boat out and thought, yep, I'm going to try something different. So that was really good, and I learned a lot from it as well.
And now with one of the most difficult questions I always ask is that, where do you see yourself in wrestling, like in 3 years?
Oh, it's very hard to answer that. That's why it's one of the most difficult questions. I still want to be wrestling, doing bookings in Europe.
Mhm.
I'd hopefully like to have a foot in the WXW world. Also, a goal of mine is to go to America because that's where that's when we watched it on TV as kids.
Yeah.
That's where the wrestling is.
Yeah, of
I'd love
course.
to go there and wrestle and try some stuff there. But as for now, I'm just taking each day as it comes.
Yeah, that's a great mentality to have.
Yeah.
Jordan, thank you so much for your time. And would you like to plug all that you have to plug, all of your channels? Where can we find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on social media. I'm on channels. So I'm on Twitter, Jordan Saeed. I think there's an underscore at the start of my name. I can't actually remember at the end.
Yeah, there's an underscore. Yes.
Yeah. So if I was just type in Jordan Saeed, I should be the only one. If there's someone else, it's the Arab guy with a dodgy beard. So that's me. Same as Instagram, same as Facebook. I'm also a personal trainer, so follow me on Instagram, The Suited PT.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I should be the only one. If someone's took that, I'm suing their ass.
Why are you the Suited PT?
Because I always wear suits usually, so I just thought
it's
a play on words.
There you go.
It's actually very funny. Like I got into a habit of wearing suits at wrestling shows, and it wasn't like anything I thought about. I just done it naturally.
Yeah.
And several people commented on it, like, "Wow, that's really, really cool." And I remember I was talking to Will Ospreay before a show. He was like, "Yeah, man, that's really cool. Like that you wear suits at wrestling shows because Cody does the same." And there was a referee we had there, like a trainee called Cody. I went, "Oh, Cody the ref." He went, "No, Cody Rhodes, for fuck's sake." I was like, and yeah, and also it's just suiting fitness plans to people's goals. So yeah. I like to play on words, as you've noticed.
Yeah. I'll be one of your customers. Rest assured about it.
I appreciate it.
I'll give you a ring one day or another. Jordan,
please do.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely chat, and I hope to see you even more in Italy, more than what you already do.
Yeah, man. So I'll be there next month, October 10th, for the IWA. I'm calling out Flavio for his title.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see what happens from there.
Yes, snatch it from his hands.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you there.
Well, thank you so much, Jordan. Ciao.
Grazie mille. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.